everyone, and welcome to our Black History Month, February 26th event. Here, technologies and Esri collaboration, innovative minds learn and share. Today, we have such special guests with us, and we're going to have a great time today. What we would like to do is start off with a wonderful video. Take it away, Andre.
What valuable solution is nobody working on? That's the contrarian question. And every day, this is the question that innovators ask themselves. Unlike sustainable innovation, which is usually an iteration to what's currently available, disruptive innovation pushes logic to the side for a moment to cultivate the seeds of ideas to create what previously didn't exist. Within large organizations like here, many believe that innovation is designated to a specific group or department, but that's not true. Innovation can come from anywhere, at any time, and from anyone. Now ask yourself, what valuable solution is nobody working on here?
TJ, I'm not hearing you.
Here we
Are
are
you
today.
muted?
Sorry, guys. Great video. My apologies. Thank you so much for that, Dante. The video was wonderful, right, guys? So here we are today talking about innovation and what patents mean to you and how those creative minds get to going and get those juices flowing. I have some great guests today. I would like to start off with introducing myself. My name is Tyann Crump J. Talley. My pronouns are she, her. I am from Here Technologies in Chicago, and I'm a senior traffic analyst editor. And I'm so happy to be here and so happy to introduce these girls to you. Next slide, please. So let's just get started with just reiterating this is Black History Month coming to an end, and you are here with the Innovative Mind Learn and Share. Let's start off with introducing our great panelists we have today. Leon, would you like to start?
Yes, sure. So my name is Leon Stenneth, and I work for Here Technologies. And before the pandemic, I was based in the Chicago office, but these days, much of the office is working from home. At Here Technologies, I am in the advanced engineering group within the dynamic content organization. And my main projects these days are in artificial intelligence and machine learning, where my team is solving tough problems related to autonomous driving and high definition maps. Thank you.
Jeremy, would you like?
Absolutely. Hi, thank you. Very honored to be here as well. My name is Jeremy Young. I am a director of program management at Here Technologies, focusing predominantly on programs related to autonomous driving and high definition maps. In addition, I am the patent lead for our development division, tasked with elevating and promoting the patent culture within our company.
Test. Can everyone hear me?
Yep, we can
All
hear
right.
you. Thanks, Hyde.
Great. So let's go to the next slide, please. So we have a great event agenda scheduled for all of you today. First, we've already talked about why we're here and what we're doing. Secondly, we just talked about our speakers and their agenda and their names. And thirdly, we will have our events we'll have later on this the rest of the month. We will talk about what innovation means to you and then we will have Q&A at the end. All right, guys, how about we get started, okay? So, since we've already discussed who you are and what you do, let's talk about what innovation means to you. Would you like to go first, Leon?
Yes, I could talk a little bit about what innovation means to me. So for me, innovation is the creation and development and also the implementation of a new product, process, or service. The aim is normally for improving efficiency or effectiveness, or to have some sort of competitive advantage. In its purest sense, innovation takes invention one step beyond the current state of the art. And it also includes making significant contribution to an existing product, process, or service. Normally, innovation flows from invention.
Great, great. Sounds great. How about you, Jeremy?
Sure. I think Leon put it really well, of course, too. But in short, I believe innovation is taking ideas and bringing them to reality. It's about the journey to get there, but it's on that journey that you're innovating and creating something innovative at the end.
Sounds great, guys. Sound great. I can say that innovation means the both of you and inventors and patents and learning new creative things. So since we're talking about what innovation is, let's talk a little bit about what what patents are and why they are important. Leon, would you like to start us off with the types of patents, please? Andre, next slide.
Yeah, I could start with the types of patents, and I will also talk about, what is a patent, if you don't mind. So generally, a patent is an exclusive right granted to an invention, which is normally a product or a process that provides a new general way of doing something. And for types of patents, we normally have a utility patent, or a design patent, or a plant patent. A utility patent, that's the most common patent, and that's what here focuses on most of the time. And it covers the creation of a new or improved and useful product, process, or machine, such as a hardware. It's normally a long technical document. I've seen, from 20 pages to 40, 50, even 60 pages. And this document teaches the public how to use this new invention, which is the new machine, the new process, or the new system. A patent normally have a lifespan of maybe say 20 years. So yes, utility patent, they do have a time to live. And then I could talk a little bit also about what is a design patent and how it's different from a utility patent. So the design patent offers protection for an ornamental design on a useful item. For example, it could be the shape of a bottle, or the shape of a phone, or the design of a shoe. Design patents are notoriously difficult to search, simply because, generally there are normally very few words and it's mostly drawings, while utility patents are normally easy to search. It's normally, thousands of words. And since design patents and utility patents provide completely different areas of intellectual property protection, you can apply for both utility and design patents for the same product.
Wow, seems like a lot of types of
We can
patents
talk a
there.
little bit about the plant patent. So just as its name suggests, a plant patent protects new kinds of plants produced by cuttings or non-sexual means. And plant patents generally do not cover genetically modified organisms and focus more on conventional horticulture. And a plant patent protects new kinds of plants that have been reproduced. And basically, that's a quick summary of the three categories of patents. And again, it's utility and design and plant.
Wow, that seems like a lot of information to know. I'll make sure that we go back to that so everyone can see those types of patents. Okay, Leon? Sounds great. Let's go on to what is a patent. Jeremy, would you like to take that?
Sure. So a patent in and of itself brings protection to a person or organization. It is something that is granted legally by a government to allow that protection and exclude others from infringing upon that claim for a period of time. Patents do expire over a 20-year period. But during that time, a patent holder is covered against such infringements. Now, with that, there are certain things that a patent does to help an organization or a person as well. And those key things being, first off, as mentioned just a moment ago, protection. Protects your company, yourself against competition, as well as others from infringing on your technology, and it can be used to protect yourself in protective counterclaims situations. Another aspect is it's important to have patents for an organization as it does increase your value of your company. It is something that's used as part of valuations. It's considered an asset of an organization. Not to mention, it is something that helps promote new products and new solutions to marketplace, which in and of itself increase the value of the organization or company. And lastly, of course, it's a way to grow the business. As part of that new product development and growth, this is how you grow the business in general, as far as new customers, new opportunities, and even expansion into new patent areas. So it helps fulfill itself in many ways in general by having this protection, by having these assets as an organization, and by growing and developing. So having a patent culture within a company offers these benefits to an organization, which is something that here puts a lot of value on.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So let's get into, we talked about the types of patents. We talked about the importance of patents, and we talked about the importance of patents to a company, right? So if we were to talk about where the creativity mind goes and innovation, how would you guys describe? So if we had, if we can go to our creativity and innovation, what is something that you guys are thinking about, and what makes it a patent, and what makes the creativity new and a value to you as the company and for the customer?
Jeremy, you want to take that? Sorry.
Sure. So creativity and innovation, to me, first off, I love the creativity part of it all. This is, to me, where a lot of the fun takes place. It allows your mind to go in places maybe that you don't normally go, to think in ways outside of your normal way of thinking. It's a great exercise for me personally to go into that creative space, to look at the world a little bit differently, to identify opportunities for improvement. Then taking that and bringing that to fruition, working with others and going through the process, really fine-tuning what that means, finding the novel parts of a patent for claims. This is where a lot of the work really comes in, really bringing focus to the idea and where it is unique in the world as far as the contribution that you're making there with the patent. It really is, there's a quote by Thomas Edison about 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And that's definitely true. To get it all the way through to the finish line, there was a lot of work and research, review, understanding what prior art may be out there or other patents that may be close to your ideas, to work through that process and really identify where your idea is unique, where your invention is unique, and bringing that forth. So that's a lot of creativity and invention to me.
Yeah, and I would like to add that, in most countries, patent rights fall under private law, and the patent holder must sue someone infringing the patent in order to enforce his or her rights. In some industries, patents are essential form of competitive advantage, and in others, they could be also considered as irrelevant. Typically, however, a patent application must include one or more claims that define the scope of protection that is being sought. And generally, the patents have, many claims, each defines a specific property right. And these claims must meet various patentability requirements, which in the US includes novelty, usefulness, and also non-obviousness. Thank you.
So much to intake. Let's go to the next slide, please. Next, please.
Types of patterns.
Yes, we're going to go to the next slide on the invention steps and how do you go from the beginning to the end? Why do you start off with maybe an idea and then move forward as far as the here process goes? Maybe you guys could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So at Here Technologies, we have a bit of a process that we're going to walk through here briefly, but really the steps are fairly universal in a lot of ways. And it starts with an idea. However your inspiration comes, you have an idea and you want to cultivate that idea. So as part of that, as part of cultivating that idea, we then do a little bit of research to identify, may there be some competition already in this area? Maybe there is already patents, maybe there are white papers, things like that already along these lines. This really starts to bring in, like I said before, the focus of where the novelty of your patent and ideas should come to light and what you want to focus on in your patent submissions. So after we've gone through a bit of a pre-screen to make sure that we are on the right path, we write up an invention report within our company. This details out step by step what makes the patent unique, what problems it's solving for, even anticipates, problem areas that may come up that this may also solve for or responses for. Most of this is in preparation for the attorneys that we then work with in filing for our patents to prepare them for what it is we are solving for. We then submit that. After we submit, there's a waiting period as our team does their due diligence by doing search reports to see what patents are out there and white papers and things along those lines that focus on the ideas that we are specifically submitting. So it's taking the pre-screen activity mentioned earlier to a more formal process. From there, we then review that information with our internal patent attorneys and identify areas where our patents may be more unique. Maybe there are similarities that appear on the surface that make your idea and a search report idea look very similar, but in fact, they may be very different. And patent attorneys are very skilled and knowledgeable on a wide breadth of information, but they also are very dependent on the inventors to explain in detail what makes their invention, unique. So this is that opportunity to address those areas, because oftentimes there will be similarities to other patents out there in certain areas. We then make those statements and cases back to our patent attorneys. They take it to a application or a patent board where they, it's a group of attorneys within our company as well as business leaders who then vote to determine if they're going to pursue filing a patent for this idea or not. If they do, then we go ahead and start our attorney application interviews, the inventors and attorneys who write the applications for formal submission to the government agencies. We then have an opportunity to review their draft information before it goes into final submission. Normally, there's a few rounds of corrections that we make with the attorneys to highlight certain things or clarify certain points within the application. And then we sign off and we submit that, and then we leave it to the attorneys at that point. They go ahead and push forth with the filing and defending and promoting of the patent. So the patent agencies themselves go through a bit of a similar process to review if there's other competing patents or whatnot. And then the attorneys, our patent attorneys, then defend the patent application with those groups to get it through, ultimately, ideally winning a patent. Now, as you can see, there's another breakout box here, which is sometimes the patent board says no, and that's okay. That happens sometimes, and that's all part of the learning experience. You know, you're not going to get a yes on everything that goes through, but you always learn something as a result, and that's the key thing. You know, you're always learning something new.
Great description. Leon, you want to add on to that before we go on?
Yeah, so when we submit our invention reports and the attorneys find, like, say, strong prior art that overlaps with our ideas, then, you know, that's how we end up in that no box that Jeremy talked about. However, we don't consider that a failure, you know. We know that now we understand the prior art a little better. And for the next iteration, we know how to position our idea so that it is significantly different from the prior art. So, you know, I take that as a negative observation. And in these kinds of systems, you know, negative observations are also very, very important to learn from as well.
Absolutely. So when you're down, just try again, right? Keep
But
on
don't try
getting
the
up
same
there.
thing.
But don't try the same thing, right? Make sure
Right.
you figure it out, but don't give up. I think that's the main thing that we can
Right.
take away from this. And I definitely feel that the audience that we're speaking to, they need to know that. Myself, I just got started with the both of you and Dante with inventions and patents. So I would like to talk about our next slide, please. That will be, what mentors did you have? What motivation did you guys have from this? And what advice would you give to an aspiring inventor? Me, myself, just starting off, both of you have been such mentors to me throughout the 8 years. You guys know that we started, I have a background that has nothing to do with inventions, nothing to do with patents, but your mentorship and our fellow allyship has gotten me to the point where I'm creativity juices. So the audience would love to hear, how has your mentorship been, and how has allyship helped you in any way? And what advice do you have for us? Leon, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to start by talking about, you know, who inspired me as a person. And of course, you know, it's people like, you know, the Nikola Teslas and the Garrett Morgan. They are my main inspiration. One thing I would like to add also is that the culture at here fosters innovation, where we have a dedicated software that tracks and manage our inventions and provide, you know, quick dashboarding tools that we can use to understand the status of our ideas that we have submitted. Apart from that, you know, software management system, at here we also have these patent mentorship programs where the senior inventors are paired with junior inventors, and we can support them and teach them along the way so that they can understand how to position their ideas so that it is different from the prior art. Also, several people at here motivated myself and also my team. As you know, the head of engineering is from IBM.
Yes.
And IBM does a lot of innovation work, a lot of patent work. And also my current manager is from Motorola. And at Motorola, they also take patents very, very seriously. So I would say that, a lot of the senior leaders at here, they take, patents very, very seriously. While I was doing the PhD, my supervisor was Professor Philip Yu. And at that time, he had over 300 patents, and I had 0.
Wow.
And of course, I was very curious. So, I asked him for some guidance, and he showed me, a few tricks and some skills as to, how to be creative, how to be innovative, and how to work well with people. I mean, that's one of the most valued skill, I would say. It's how to work well with people, how to understand ideas, and how not to kill other people's ideas. What I would say as a message to young inventors is always write down your ideas, document them somewhere, on a piece of scratch paper, on the back of an envelope, on your iPod, or on your phones. And just keep talking to people, and find yourself in groups where people are really creative and people think outside the box. Find the best time that works for you. Jeremy and I, we have tried, several different days at here, several different times of the day. And right now we settle for Friday mornings as the best time to innovate. Yes. So Friday mornings, Jeremy and I and some colleagues from Germany, we get together for 1 hour, and we generate ideas and try to understand the company's product portfolio and understand our competitors' products portfolio, and just to see how we can place here at a competitive advantage in terms of IP. So Jeremy, wow. Over to you.
Sure. What has inspired me? Let me start there. I've always been a fan of history, and there's so many historical figures, that you can draw inspiration from, especially in the area of innovation. And I think I'm most drawn to often the very creative minds that are out there. Fascinated by like a Leonardo da Vinci, for example, very just multi-talented on so many different fronts. And so more than anything, I am really drawn to, learning about inventors. Honestly, I kind of have been my whole life, and I've read a lot of biographies about people that have invented, because I want to learn, what inspired them and what was their magic. How did they get there? But then bringing it back to today, here and now, it's something that, I was very fortunate enough that when I started working at here, Leon and I happened to be working in the same group, and as well as you, Ty, too. And one of the things as a program manager I used to have to report on was the KPIs related to patents that we were submitting. And so Leon and I would interface every month on this because he had the numbers and I was doing the reporting. But with that, it sparked conversation, and it grew into something over the years where we've really begun doing a lot of innovating together. And so I don't mind saying my mentor has been Leon, for sure.
I don't mind saying that either.
He is one of the most positive people and supportive people you'll ever meet. And he's really guided me through this process. And I think with that, it's an important acknowledgement that having a mentor that you can learn from is fantastic. I mean, we've all gone through this path, with the help of somebody to show us the way, and it is a great opportunity. So if given the opportunity, I always recommend it, and it's something that's part of what we promote within our own organization at here, as Leon mentioned, is the mentorship program too, because we love to see people come up through this and working together and growing together as a company this way. So it's beneficial to not just the people being mentors or being mentored. It is such a benefit also to the mentors. You learn so much too working with people, and it just
Yeah, I agree with
sparks so
that.
much sparks so much new things, and it can't say enough good things about a mentor program and encouraging people to get involved.
And I would just like to just chime in a little bit. Leon mentioned earlier that his mentor had over 300 patents. I'm sure you guys are wondering how many patents are between these two. And I stated before, maybe in the 80 range. I'm not quite sure. I could
Between
be, but
Jeremy
maybe
and
in the
I,
1,000 range. Who knows? But what
between
is it?
Jeremy and I combined, I think we are north of 100 for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. When I first met you two, I think you were at like 50, but I do remember walking in your like space and going, "Oh wow, there's all these awards on the wall." And the same thing with you too, Jeremy. Like you mentioned, we are from the same department, all of us, and we've worked together, I think now for about 9 years. And I can say what these gentlemen are speaking about and that mentorship is very important because you could be sitting there thinking that you have to think of this grand idea, right? That you have to be like that Elon Musk, but it could be something like, can I pick up a ketchup package without getting ketchup on my hands? It could just start from somewhere that can be so crazy. And I promise you, when you sit down with these two and other mentors, they will literally walk you through it. Like they would make this simple idea just come to life before your eyes. And that's just for me. I can't say that I'm young. I look it, but let's go to the next slide. And let's talk about how you have the techniques that you've used, your education. What would you say to a developing young mind? In this picture here, this picture was taken over 2 years ago, right, Leon? And this was when we had our Black History Month program. You guys may not see that, but we also have our executive sponsor, Luther Siebert, in this picture, along with myself, Dr. Leon Stenneth, and my nephew and my son. So I'm not kidding about how well these two guys are, and all of the here technology people are. I would not bring my family, trust me, and I would not bring anyone around that I wouldn't think be a mentor and have that goal. And when I say they literally walk them around, talk to them, they still talk to them, they still email them, they take the time. So don't think that mentors are not there, that they're busy and they can't be, oh no, at times. So what techniques did you use, Leon? Let's start off with you to develop your mind first. And then what techniques would you say that a young mind needs to develop now? Do I need to have that degree, that engineer degree? Can I do this with a clinical laboratory degree, a business degree, or I'm a cook? Can I do it that way?
Yeah, so I would like to add that, an engineering degree is not a requirement to be a good inventor or to be a prolific inventor. I think it starts with, having a creative mind and questioning what you see with your eyes or what you hear with your ears. And also just always, taking notes about, your ideas, make sure that they are written down somewhere, and always try to be on the edge in terms of your field. So at Here Technologies, the way Jeremy and I work, we also know what Apple is working on. We have an idea what Google is working on, and that's based on their publications, are also based on the patents that they publish. So I would say it's two things, try to stimulate your mind by understanding what the competitors are working on. And also, just always question what you see to figure out if there is a better way for this system to work, or there is a more efficient way for the system to work. In terms of my background, I did my bachelor's degree in Jamaica. And then I got a scholarship to the United Kingdom to do a master's. And then I got another scholarship to the US, which is the Fulbright scholarship to do a PhD. And I became an intern at Here. And then, while being an intern, I realized that, Here was really interested in curiosity and creativity. And so, I start working with the right people, including, Leo Madica, including Bruce, including Jeremy, who always have, great, fantastic ideas that can keep me locked in a room for hours just talking about his ideas. So my advice to the young mind is, just always question what you see, always try to be on the edge in terms of technology. Understand the prior art or prior solutions, and then you could start to think, how you can extend the prior solutions, how you can make them different. For example, maybe we could say initially when the phones came out, they were more squarish, a little bit, they were more rectangular, like a refrigerator or like a box. But then, you can see that they're getting a little bit more, curvy at the edges, So even things like that could be a design patent. So it's just always thinking about, how can you make, things different so that it benefits not just you, but, the larger population, I would say.
And Jeremy, before you get started, let's go to the next slide so we can make sure that we have some of those key takeaway and notes. And Jeremy, how about you?
Sure. So I'll start with a bit of my background. It's kind of it may come across a little wandering, but it's actually not. It flows quite well. I went to school in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got it's a business degree, but my focus was in music business, specifically studio production, recording engineering, things along those lines. And I have been a musician for most of my life. I grew up playing classical violin, and I play a variety of other instruments. So again, this is a bit of the creative side of me that I enjoy, I think, where I get it from. But then after I finished my degree, I was working at a concert facility there in Nashville. And I got asked to take on a management role there after I graduated doing accounting work. So I started working in financial services and handling things like payroll and stuff like that for the company for quite a while. And then that went on to grow into a role in the restaurant company who was running this facility into systems. And in systems, I then became much more knowledgeable in IT and everything, because a lot of financial systems or financial service people, you're dependent on the systems that are driving your numbers. I went from there to working for a technology company that then supplied systems to hospitality companies. And I worked there for a while. And that's where I really took some project management work that I was doing in systems before and really started to develop that. I got my PMP around that time, started leading other groups of project managers. And then I worked my way over to Here Technologies, where I've taken my project and program management skills and brought it to the Here organization. And so now at here, that's what I do. I'm a director of program management. And so there is a thread through this whole thing. But if you look
Yes.
at the very beginning there, you wouldn't necessarily think that you would be here. But what I'd like to highlight, though, is it just reinforces the fact that, it can come, you can come from anywhere. I mean, as far as,
Mhm,
an
mhm.
inventive mind. I think really, if there's anything I impress upon people, younger people and people who are interested in this, is allow yourself to be inquisitive, be curious. That's the core of it, and you really do have to allow yourself. It's real
Yeah.
easy to just get focused on what you're doing every day and whatnot, but allow yourself that time to be curious about things that you don't maybe fully understand. And as you start to learn about those things, it's amazing what other ideas come off of that. So I encourage people often, just take a little bit of time in this crazy, hectic world that we live in, and absorb the world around you a little and be inspired, if at all possible, and really explore those opportunities when possible.
Sounds great. I was just thinking to myself, and my educational background was from DePaul University, clinical laboratory science degree. And I remember when I wanted this degree, I kept telling myself, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to be, but I know I got to be in science. And I know that I have to be there when things are rolling, when things are going on. And it wasn't difficult, but it was because I had my son at 20. And so yeah, that was tough. But moving forward, what I didn't know, just to let the audience know, is that both of my parents would become sick. And I wasn't able to move forward kind of like I wanted to in my education, but that did not stop my inventions because, or that creative mind, because if anyone knows, when you're dealing, especially what we're going through now with the pandemic and everything going on, it's been so many ideas, so many inventions coming up because of the fact that we have recognized more so than ever that we need to be ahead of the game, right? That we need to look forward. We need to look forward in our thinking and identify problems like we are identifying problems 10 years from now, right? What will be that problem 10 years from now? So it makes sense that, like you said, Jeremy, that okay, yeah, we may come from some creative backgrounds, but you see it comes back full circle when you get those creative mind juices. So I hope the audience takes away from that. And I want to move on to the next slide and let everyone make sure that they have the key takeaways and know what things you want to focus on. And people will rarely succeed with their first ideas. So don't get discouraged. Keep trying, keep getting out there, keep getting up. Just because you might have had a small mountain doesn't mean that you won't get it right. Keep a log of your notes, ideas. That's what Leon said was great, 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 important. And just like anything, get an event mentor who can help you through the process. That's the main thing that we want to take away. Next slide. So now, the audience, we would like to kind of open this up. And we do have a couple of questions that I wanted to get to first before we open up the audience. But while we're doing these questions and this question segment, please take the time to take down the information for Dr. Leon Stenneth and Jeremy Young. We have QR codes that go straight to their LinkedIn. Please, reach out to them, let them know how they're doing, got questions, and make sure that you take advantage of any info that they have or can guide you to, or just, hey, maybe just after this session, you'll see, hey, I can do it too. And if we can get that, that's part of the battle, right, guys? So let's start with the question here. We have a question from Terry Wilson, and it is: inventors have contributed to the fabric of America's innovation ecosystem. I'm sorry, this is more of a statement. So thank you for your work. And let's see. Here's a
You're welcome.
question. Here's the question here. Can you speak to the challenges you have had in networking, particularly as a marginalized person that is ideologically aligned a critical race studies perspective. Would you like for me to repeat that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you speak to the challenges you have in networking, particularly as a marginalized person that is ideologically aligned a critical race studies perspective? This is also from Terry Wilson.
Yeah, so generally, within here technologies, I think, we all have, some sort of advanced degrees. So we speak the same language, people are friendly, easy to work with. So I really did not experience any challenges in terms of, say, networking within here technologies. Within the university, I did face a few challenges, but those are really minor. I would say it happened maybe 1% of the time, so we shouldn't focus on that. But generally, when it comes down to invention and innovation, regardless of how you look or how you sound, people are always willing to have discussions or to understand what you're saying, or to support you and give you the opportunity so that you can make the world a better place. I would say it's one step beyond the way how you look and sound. It's really making the world a better place for everyone.
And we actually have Terry Wilson live here. Give me a moment. Let's see.
Mhm.
Terry, are you there? Well, that's okay. We have one more from Terry. Let's see. With limited networking, what suggestions do you have for a critical criminologist, a pediatrologist, GI specialist, data scientist, interested in developing a social and environmental justice widget? That's a long one, right? Would you like for me to repeat it?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. With limited networking, what suggestions do you have for critical criminologist, a pediatrologist GI specialist, or data scientist interested in developing a social and environmental justice widget?
So in my
And
mind,
we
that
did.
sounds like so I think Terry, the way I interpret this is, she intends to build a software system, and she wants to know
I
where to
think that's how
start.
I'm
Am I
interpreted
correct?
too. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so generally with software, we start from the requirements phase. What is it that you want to build, and what is it that should be the output of the system? What should be the input of the system? I would say the place to start, therefore, is a requirements gathering phase from, the users of the system, or from the product owner or from the product manager, what problem they are trying to solve. Get those down on paper in terms of requirement specification. And then, we can start to design the software system to meet those requirements. So Jeremy and our link, I think this is a question that we cannot fully answer here,
Mhm.
but our LinkedIn information is available. So, we could answer this question, say, even offline as well, since it's very technical
Absolutely.
and requires some technical know-hows as well.
Jeremy, did you have any feedback to any part of the questions? It was a two-part. Let me know if you want me to repeat. But the first one was, can you speak to the challenges that you have in networking in a marginalized, as a marginalized person in a critical race studies perspective? That was the first one. And then the second one was the limited networking. And do you have critical or information on the widget?
Right. First and foremost, I think a really important factor in innovation is about diversity. You really want as many perspectives as possible when working through ideas. That's what makes ideas strong. That's what allows you and others to grow together very much. So, I think seeking out like-minded people that way is really, really important. This again goes a little bit to, I think people that are drawn to, say, mentoring and things like that think along exactly this way. They understand this dimension significantly. So as far as the how to take this widget into marketplace and whatnot, yeah, I agree with Leon. This is a bit more of an in-depth conversation that I'm certainly happy to take offline as well. There's a lot of approaches one can take to expanding their circle of influence and networking to help bring those ideas to fruition. But yeah, I think we could really take that one a little more offline, as it could get pretty technical here potentially.
Definitely, definitely. Well, what are I would like to say, is there anything else that you, both of you, that would like to share before we end? We have about 5 minutes left. So whatever you think that would be a great takeaway and what you would like to give for the audience. If we do get another question before then, I'll let you know. But if there's anything that we might have missed that you might wanted to speak on, or that you might have got a feeling that you wanted to a little bit more on, please do so.
So I would like to, encourage people who are interested in becoming innovators or prolific inventors to really network with your peers. As we have seen, Edison and Tesla, they were networking at one point before they became rivals. And it's the same thing with Jeremy and I. We talk once a week for 1 hour on Friday mornings. And we have extended our meetings to include folks from Berlin as well. And since then, with myself bringing ideas to the table, and Jeremy with gazillion of ideas, and the folks from Berlin who also have tons of ideas. And also we are from different backgrounds. I am from the engineering, scientist background, while Jeremy is from, program management, and our Berlin colleagues, they are from product management. Mm-hmm. So with all these diverse backgrounds, in the room at the same time, we can always, find problems to solve and solve them in such a unique way so that, the final solution is significantly different from the prior art that exists before. So I would say, diverse ideas or diverse backgrounds in the room, frequent periodic meeting. I mean, our meetings are not really event driven. They are more time driven each week for an hour, and, keep a good log of your notes. And I think everyone can do it.
And go ahead. Sorry, Jeremy, go right ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, if there is any other thing I could ever impress upon people, it's, it's just like any other discipline. You've got to practice. Very rarely do you walk up to the first time at bat and hit a grand slam kind of thing. It's years of work behind that. And it's, you shouldn't be discouraged. You should, take, on my little flow chart, those no's as the opportunity to, learn and grow, and you will, and you absolutely will. As you go through it more and more, the more and more you will learn, the more and more you understand how the process works as far as, finding that space in patents and how to get them submitted and how to get them approved more often. So, don't be discouraged. It is, all of us started in that same space where one of our patent attorneys used to tell me, he was like, your idea is great. It's so great. Somebody patented it about 4 years ago. So you're on the right track.
Give me more, but you're almost there.
Exactly. You're almost there. And so, and they were right. It really is the case. So just, keep at it. You will get there. It's amazing what you can do when you keep at something like that. So, yeah.
And lastly, I just wanted to speak on, we got 3 minutes left here. There are other titles positions that you can take when you're in this realm, right? You talked about the patent board. We talked about the senior patent analyst. We talked about quite a few things, and I know those are more legal, but it'd be great for the audience just to know that these are different ways that you can kind of get under it. That's how I started getting on the patent board, and trust me, when I first got there, I was just like, I don't know what I'm reading. But then it just clicked like a light bulb because of you all walking me through it, helping me through it. And again, coming in with a technical background as opposed to a legal background on that board put me on a different side of things. So are there any titles or careers that we may be missing or that you guys wanted to highlight in the next couple of minutes that may aligned with patents and inventions?
Well, there certainly are a lot of people that we interface with when we're going through our patent processing, from legal teams to researchers, as well as maybe engineers, or as Leon mentioned, in the group of people that, we innovate together with. I bring a program management dimension, and Leon a research and mathematics side, and we have product managers that we also innovate with, and it's really, I think it's kind of limitless as far as the types of roles. But I mean, certainly there are some roles that may be a little bit. I mean, it's part of their day to day what they need to do, and in our organization, that is, specifically people around legal roles and people who are tasked with innovation specifically, which for a technology company, that's really important. So there are people in groups within our organization that work to promote innovation and to bring those ideas to products. So with that, you have a lot of opportunity within those spaces too.
Great, guys. Well, this has been an awesome session. Please, everyone, check out the rest of our events for today. We have one more left with NorthStar, and that will be at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it will be the impact of bias in data design and analysts. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. This has been great, and have an awesome afternoon, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you very
and
much.
Thank the attendees as well for joining and listening to us.
Yes,
Have a great
thank
rest
you.
of the evening.
Absolutely.